I know there's some of you that are listening that have more expertise in your pinky finger than half of the experts you see online crushing it. So why is it that your expertise and your skill set aren't translating into you being that go-to expert in your space? All right, so today we are just going to dive into this episode because this episode is just between you and me, a little conversation about something that I really do believe can change the game for you if you are a coach, consultant, or industry leader and you feel like you are a hidden gem. Because I know there's some of you that are listening that have more expertise in your pinky finger than half of the experts you see online crushing it. So, why is it that your expertise and your skill set aren't translating into you being that go-to expert in your space? So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today in today's solo episode. And this is going to be very actionable. And I'm going to give you something at the end of this episode that if you agree and like what I'm saying, I'm not just going to leave you hanging. You're going to have an opportunity to have a free experience with me to help you with everything that we're talking about today. So make sure you listen to the end. So I know that there's people who are listening because they're my clients that, are doctors, lawyers, PhD professors, yoga teachers, and they're at the top of their field and they all have the talent, the wisdom, the expertise. But until they figure out and have figured out what their signature method is and how to talk about and wrap that signature method up into a unique and ownable body of work, they remain a hidden talent. And so today is really about unlocking these kind of success secrets that create the distinction between people who are just kind of like making it, chugging along, maybe doing okay, and the people who break out from the pack, break through the noise, even in the busiest and noisiest of spaces, and position themselves as go-to industry experts. By the end of this episode, as I said, I want you to be able to see why identifying your unique magic, which is part of your signature method, is really crucial in standing out in the sea of same. And then I want to show you how you can package that magic into a signature method that then becomes the foundation for all of your offers and allows you to position yourself as an industry leader. So I know this episode isn't going to be for everybody, but as I said, if you are a coach, consultant, or industry leader and feel like you're kind of getting lost in the noise, this episode is for you. So let's dive in and let's talk about the first thing that I see as being the biggest issue when it comes to breaking through the noise. And this is specifically for people who are great at what they do. They have the wisdom, they have the expertise, they might be experts in their space, but they haven't been able to kind of crack the code on breaking through the noise and having their ideal clients like lining up their door. And this is what I'm going to call the expert problem. When you're an expert, it can be easy to think that just being an expert is enough. But the problem with being an expert is that you have so much knowledge that you've built and so much mastery around what you do that it can be hard to actually see and articulate what it is that you actually do and how you actually get clients' results. It's an automatic thing by now. Your process is autonomic. The way that you do things, it's just been so ingrained in your process for so long that it's actually like the water that you swim in. So it's kind of hard to see. And this isn't just a new coach or consultant problem either. One of my clients I was working with was a 7-figure entrepreneur, and she had massive success in her coaching business. However, up until she wanted to build out her year-long certification program, she wasn't really able to speak to how she got results with her clients. And the reason for that is she was in the work always. She was the one working one-on-one with clients in the groups, in the masterminds, creating the magic. But when she actually had to break down what she was doing and how she was doing it, it was a lot harder because it just came so naturally to her. So this is not a unique problem, but the challenge here is when you aren't able to articulate how you take your clients from point A to point B, and you can't show them that you have this repeatable and reliable system for success, it's a lot harder for people to trust the process, and it makes your offers a lot harder to sell. I always like to bring in an analogy at this point, and this might land for some of you and it might not land for others. But if you've ever gone to somewhere like, say, Machu Picchu, for example, or any of these kind of like places that have a lot of tourists going and they're doing tours, what you'll usually see is a bunch of guides standing, at the base or outside. And these different guides are there to take you on a tour. Let's just stick with Machu Picchu, of a tour of Machu Picchu. And the tour of Machu Picchu is just that. It's everyone's going to go on the tour of Machu Picchu. And I use air quotes if you can't see me. But how each guide is going to facilitate that tour. So the point A and the point B is the same. So you're starting at the bottom, you're going to have a tour, you're going to see Machu Picchu, which is point B. But the in between, the how, the process, the method is going to be different for each guide. So you'll have some guides who are saying like, if you need to be in and out in a couple hours, like I'm your person, I'm going to take you, hit all the great sites, all the important spots, and you'll be out. You're going to have another guide who might be like, I'm the history person. I'm going to break down the history of this place. You're going to really understand, the stories and the meaning and the significance of this place. And then there might be another who's got, the jokes and all of that. So anyways, my point is, you can be doing the same thing as a lot of people in your space, but until you can actually speak to what makes your process unique and how you're going to facilitate the journey of transformation for your clients, you're going to get lost in the sea of same. And this is why many experts stay hidden gems, because their knowledge is just scattered and it's not really presented in a unique framework that they can speak to. The tough truth is, talent enough isn't alone. People need to see that you have a clear path to transformation in your work. And this is where the signature method and work comes in. All of the experts you admire, and I can't say all, but the one thing that I see when I look at the experts in my space and in other people's spaces is they have this thing in common. They've turned their expertise into a clear, repeatable method that others can trust. So they kind of have this like anchor that they're like, I'm your person if you want this. And then there's a lot of stuff that goes around that, like brand stories and values and offers and all of that thing. But really, it's about their unique method being at the core of this. And so today, I want to help you do the same by sharing 3 success secrets with you that can help you start to understand how to articulate what your unique method is. And I'm going to start with why it's important, because in case you're not bought in yet, because I get this pushback all the time, like it's not really important, or I don't understand the importance of it. So let me speak to this a little bit before we dive into the how. So the first success secret is the reason this works is a signature method creates authority. So when you have a signature method, it allows you to position yourself as an authority in your field because it provides this clear structure for others to follow. So it's not like you're just winging it or people have to just trust you. You actually have this kind of recipe that you can share with people, that you can say like, look, this is the process that we follow. It'll be unique to you. I can customize it and you're going to have your own experience within it. But based on this recipe, I've been able to work with people to get the result that you're looking to get. That creates a lot more leadership and authority in your positioning. Like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And 2, it allows people to trust the process versus just having to trust your word for it or just go off of, that you seem like a great person or, anything along those lines. So this is where, as experts, we have to get that our expertise isn't enough. We have to know how to talk about our expertise. And again, let's just break this down into some examples that you might know. If we look at what is a unique method? How does a unique method act as the anchor for someone's unique and ownable body of work? Well, if we look at some big time examples, we've got an OG, Stephen Covey, with his 7 habits of highly effective people. So this is a framework that he's developed that he can then create mini trainings, mini talks, books around these pieces, content around these pieces. And there's these very simple 7 steps that he's saying that highly effective people have in terms of habits. And then we've got Brene Brown, and her research is really around vulnerability, right? So if you don't know Brene Brown or know her story, if you go back to her kind of like catapult to like major visibility moment, it was her TED Talk on vulnerability. And that started to get some virality, that started to pick up some steam. And then she started to create a lot of ownable work around that. So she had talks, she had a book, she had created a whole resource library. And then I think now she has something like the DARE leadership method as well. So you can have multiple methods that speak to different ideal clients and unique problems that you're solving. But you have to start with one that becomes the core of everything. And then from there, you can branch out. Ask yourself, like, if you were to think about this for yourself, what transformation do you help your clients achieve again and again? And this is where your signature method begins. So why I love actually working with people on this that have been doing what they've been doing for a while is you have all of the data that you need. You have all of the client testimonials, you have all of the client case studies that you need to look at it and be like, okay, what are the core themes that come through? What are my clients saying they needed help with at the beginning of the work that we did together? And what did they end up walking away with? If you have intake and outtake forms, these are really great places to look for this data. If you do like intake calls and outtake like offboarding calls, again, really great place to look for this data. So I promise you, if you've been doing what you've been doing for a while, this isn't about starting from scratch or creating something from nothing. This is about packaging what you're already doing and putting language and visuals and context to what you're already doing. So that kind of leads me into success secret number 2. And this is about having a framework and why that's so important to simplify and scale. What happens when you have a framework is it allows you to break down complex problems or your expertise into simple and actionable steps and stages. And I was actually just reading a book this morning called Winning the Story Wars. And I was like, I love how this author has written this book because he's taken this kind of like abstract concept of storytelling, which can feel really slippery and hard to understand how to do that as an individual. And he's broken it down into these simple steps following the hero's journey, which is like one of the most famous archetypical methods that you can kind of think of, this like hero's journey that is part of so many of these stories that we know in in lots of different places, whether that be in movies and books and mythology, this anchor of this journey that people go on. So when you have this framework like this author has done, he's taken away the mystery around how to tell a great story and breaks it down into simple steps that anyone can follow. And that's what you need to do when it comes to really showing that you have a grasp on your expertise. Now, I've heard someone, and I'm probably going to get this a little bit wrong, but it's like, if you can't explain what you do in like 5th grade language, you don't really know it. And I think there's some truth to that because, if you just know it conceptually or in like really niche-y language, but you can't simplify it for the average person, you don't know the ins and outs of that deep enough. If you're getting stuck as an expert being like, this happens a lot in the transformation space. So coaches who want to do transformational work and they use really kind of like kitschy language, but they just can't break it down into like simple form. Like, what are you going to be doing with people? How do you actually create that transformation? My invitation to you is to spend some time to really unpack what it is that you're doing so that you can create a map, and your framework really acts as a map that can show people exactly how they get from point A to point B with ease and confidence. Okay, so the starting point here, if you're like, I don't really know how I would do that, is think about, what is that transformation? Where are people when they start with you? Where are people when they end? And identify the key milestones or pillars of your process. So you're already well on your way if you have those 2 pieces. Now, let's talk about success secret number 3, which is this idea that signature offers and having this unique method opens the doors to opportunity. So, once you have something that is ownable, unique, and yours, you can turn it into a variety of signature offers that attract high level opportunities because you become that go to expert. People start to think about you as like, oh, you're the person that talks about vulnerability. You're the person who talks about burnout. You're the person who talks about alignment in business. You become recognizable to people and you attract these opportunities that are aligned. I want you to see that once you have your signature method, it's not about just having one thing and feeling really boxed in. It's about having this core central idea and framework and map that then you can create multiple offers out of. So usually where I like to start with people is something like a signature masterclass. A signature masterclass, I'm going to talk about this later, is a really great entry point to be able to share with people what your unique method is, how you work with people, how you create results, and showcase your expertise in like an hour-long thing. You could also turn that into a talk. You could turn it into a workshop. You could turn it into group programs, intensive VIP days. Like the sky's the limit once you have the signature method dialed in. I already shared the story about my client who used these principles to package her life's work into a year-long certification program, which now, by the way, makes multiple 7 figures a year. But if you aren't there yet, if you're like, oh, this isn't for me until I kind of get to that point, no, that's not true. I've also worked with a client who wasn't even doing 6 figures yet and used these same principles to build out her unique method and then a signature masterclass rooted in that method, which was the top of her funnel offer. And then that masterclass led into her one-on-one packages. And just by solidifying this method and her signature masterclass, she created a reliable client creation engine in her business, which now produces 3 to 5 high ticket clients on repeat every single month. She knows when she just does this masterclass, she now has this funnel because she's dialed in her messaging, her process, her ideal client, and people trust that if they're on that masterclass, they have the problem that she's saying she can help solve. And by the end of the 60 minutes, they're like, yep, I believe you. I believe that you can do this. I get how you do this. I feel aligned with how you do this. And I think we're a good fit. When you have this signature offer, signature method piece, people know exactly what they're coming to you for and why you are the best at delivering it. And when I say best, this is what's kind of cool about this. You're the best for them. There are going to be hundreds, thousands of other people doing what you do. It's not that we're trying to find this like super unique snowflake kind of idea and be different than everybody else out there. What is the difference is how you do what you do, who you are, your soulful CEO archetype, your unique method. These are like the ingredients to the recipe that make the recipe taste like you. And so everyone, like there's going to be a lot of people doing the same thing. We're not trying to recreate the wheel here. We're actually looking at what do people want? What do my ideal clients want? And there's likely going to be a lot of other people doing that. Like in the online business coaching space, there are thousands, maybe even millions, it feels like, of coaches saying that they can help people create clients, right? And that's not unique. But the how in that is the unique part. Who you're being in that is the unique part. What your values are and what those are rooted in is the unique part. And that is what we're doing when we're creating your signature method and then creating a unique body of work around that. I know, and because I can hear this because I've had these objections around this before, there's going to be some of you that are listening to this that it might be like, oh, that sounds good, but it's not for me. I don't even know where to start. It sounds like a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. What I want to just remind you or let you know is that you've been doing what you've been doing for a while. If you are an expert in your space, you're not recreating everything. You have everything you need. This is about figuring out how to package and then talk about what you do. It's really about packaging your unique magic. You already have the process. It's just time to extract that from your embodied unconscious, autonomic way of working and make it visible, explainable so that other people can see it. And with the right framework and AI tools, honestly, you can do this really quickly. And I want to just share a recent story because I just went to do an in-person VIP day with a client of mine, and it was just a day-long immersion. And she had been running her group mastermind for 8 years. So she had already been doing what she'd been doing for a while. It wasn't like we had to recreate the wheel. But the problem was she didn't really have a method or a framework to plug in what she had been doing with clients, how she was actually creating these great results. So she knew if she wanted to scale this program beyond just say word of mouth or people that knew her and trusted her without really even knowing what they were going to get inside the package, she needed to put some framework and method and language around what she did. And we just spent one day together. And by looking at the client results she was already creating, what people said that they wanted, what they were getting, the different things she was doing with people to create the results, her own core stories and values and what she was bringing to the work, we were able to map out her signature method, create the new program flow and content based on this method, and refine her messaging based on her unique magic that she brings. And we did this all within one day. So this work doesn't need to take months or be like this major slog or this huge project. It can be done quickly and it can change the game for you and your business once it's done. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I don't want to just leave you hanging with this. I hope that this was enough to get you thinking and get you started on creating that signature method or refining it if you already have one and it just doesn't seem to be clicking. But if you want more, I have something exciting to share with you. I am actually going to start hosting 90-minute workshops to help people putting their signature method together using the help of AI tools. I've been playing with this myself and I've been playing with this with clients, and it's so fascinating and so fun to actually use ChatGPT and AI tools to help with this work. It's like you get a creative partner in your business, but you actually need to know how to prompt ChatGPT properly, train it properly to get the results that you're looking for. So this 90-minute workshop is going to help you identify your unique magic. So what is that uniqueness that you're bringing to the work? Then I'm going to help you develop a signature framework that allows you to really clearly communicate the journey of transformation and how you do what you do. And we're going to use AI tools, ChatGPT, to streamline the offer creation process so that you can start actually building out your signature masterclass. And I'm going to have a ton of plug and play templates, tools, prompts that you can just put into ChatGPT to help you produce these things. And in 90 minutes, you're going to have the framework for your signature masterclass. So you're going to leave with a done for you masterclass framework. You're going to have a full toolkit of done for you swipe files, templates, and tools, and you'll have the confidence to put this piece of your signature body of work out there in the world and position yourself as that go-to leader in your space. So I'm going to link the sign up for this workshop below. You can just sign up for the next one that I'll be hosting. I'm going to be hosting these regularly. And if you miss the masterclass and want to get started on this right away, you can actually purchase the masterclass bundle that has all of the swipe files, tools, templates, plug and play pieces, and you can get started on building this out on your own. And I'm going to link that in the show notes as well. I hope you get how passionate I am about this and how I'm so certain that creating this ownable and signature body of work as a coach, consultant, or industry expert can change the game for you. I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it with my own work. And I know that this is the thing in today's landscape where there are so many people doing the same thing. When it feels like it is so noisy, when it feels like you're like, I know I can really help people. I know I can create more impact. I know I can create more income. This is your blueprint for authority, sustainable growth, and attracting the right clients. And no matter where you're starting with this, as I said, you're closer than you think because you have spent years cultivating the expertise you need to be able to do this work. You are already creating results. It's just time to scale it. And to scale it, you need a way to package and talk about what you do so that your clients can find you and it's not so hard to help them see the valuable work that you're going to be doing with them. And I want nothing more for you than to create more impact and income. So I hope you join me inside the workshop or you grab this bundle. And if you love this solo episode, please let me know. Just hit that follow or subscribe button and consider leaving a review. So as I said, I'll link the resources mentioned in the show notes. And as always, feel free to reach out to me at Kristin Constable on Instagram and share any insights, key takeaways, or make a guest request. I always love hearing from you. All right, thank you, and join me in the next episode.